Hello there, this is Sherry Simpson. Today is Solstice. So it is the longest day of the year or the shortest day of the year, depending on which hemisphere you're in. And we just moved into Cancer season. So the energy is shifting now. If it has felt a little bit funky or a little bit weird or a little bit like you were too much in your head. Hello there, Michael. Then it is a good time to move forward through the next couple of months now that we're in Cancer season. So a couple of days ago I picked some cards for you. The first card that I ended up picking out was the Observe card. And I got a laugh today because the Observe card is nowhere to be found. Hi, Jenny. So if you ended up picking the Observe card, it may be that you are missing what it is that you're supposed to be observing. And the Observe card has a person that is sitting there in the middle of the card, and there are 4 different likenesses of herself, which that's how the card appears to be, that are on all 4 corners, and they're in 4 different colors. So that often means to me that it's as though you can see things from totally different perspectives depending on how you're looking at it. So if you're looking at something from a place of confidence or lack of, then what does the situation look and feel like? If you're looking at a situation for something that's heart-centered or a lack of heart-centered, then what does the situation look and feel like? If you're looking from a situation from like a throat chakra perspective, then what are you saying about it? What are you hearing about it? What are you not saying and not hearing about it? And I think the other one was sacral chakra, and the sacral chakra color is more about birthing and creating. So what are you not creating, or what are you observing that other people are not creating? And because that card has just like gone AWOL, I'm going to pick another one. Hi, Ingrid. So on the 18th, I picked a couple of cards, and I wanted to sort of wait and see if a couple of days difference would actually still bring you the same information you were looking for, or if the information was totally different. And so I was laughing because I can't find the Observe card. It's just like gone AWOL. So I'm going to pick a second card for those of you who ended up choosing the number 1 card on Monday. This one. Move. Here we go. So instead of observing, perhaps it is now time that when we're in Cancer season that you actually start moving forward on things that you were or have been observing. So that's the intention that I get. So this for some people could actually mean that this season is time for you to move. It is obviously very connected to relationships. So if you're thinking of a relationship or in a relationship or wanting to move or change a relationship, then this may be a little bit of guidance or wisdom about that too. But I get the sense that it is moving or acting on something that you have been observing. So that's the message I got if you chose card 1 a couple days ago. The second card that came through was Dreams Come True, and it came through in the upright position, which is amazing. And this is a number 9, so it's about celebrating and ending. So perhaps your dreams have come true already for the first half of the for the first half of the year, and now you actually want to celebrate all that you've gone through. Hi, Maria. And so the dreams coming true is literally about focusing. So this morning in the Create Freedom Your Way group, I ended up posting a message about manifestation because I talk a lot about creating your own reality. And in manifestation, it is often about focusing on what you want, getting into the emotion so that you're vibrating what you want, and being so grateful and appreciative for what it feels like that you're in the moment feeling that thing, and then you're calling those things in that match that, like socks to sweaters in a dryer, because you're already vibrating the essence of what it is you're going to be receiving when you get whatever it is you desire. But what most of us have a tendency to do, so I made 2 posts in that group this morning. The second post was about how we block our manifestations. So the first thing that you want to do when you're manifesting something is to actually decide, this is what I'm creating. And you want to have a sense and a feel and a taste and a smell and an appreciation for what it is that you want. So if you're being kind of willy-nilly and I don't need that, I don't want that, I already have enough, then nothing else can come to you because you keep pushing all of these things away. So the first thing you need to do is get into that place of asking instead of, well, I don't need it or I don't want it or it won't come anyway. You want to try to ditch that mentality. And I know this is a long explanation for this card, but I'm getting there. And so the second step that you want to get into is a place of literally visualizing and feeling and experiencing what it is that you're going to experience once you create what you want. And how we do that as humans is, what does it taste like? What does it smell like? What do I feel like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What is the whole situation or experience about once you have created that thing? And I used a red Jeep as an example. And if you're blocking your manifestation, then you're looking at the driveway and saying, the red Jeep isn't there yet. I can't believe it's not there. And then you're looking at like all 6 of your neighbors who are all driving Jeeps and you're like, everybody else has one except for me. And you're in that place of not allowing and actually pushing it away because you keep noticing the lack of it. And so that is not going to help your dreams come true. And the next thing is literally about getting into that place of appreciating what you have now to maintain that sense of the visualization. So if you're in that place of, every time I drive my piece of crap car, it breaks and I'm always putting money into it and I hate this car and I'm kicking the tires and I'm doing all of that, then you're not in appreciation for what you have. And so you're losing the sense of appreciation, which is what you're going to feel when you get what you're trying to manifest. So you really need to be in appreciation of what you have now to stay in that vibration to attract what you want. And so this is about getting into that place of manifestation, but it's also about celebrating the closeness of the match, because sometimes things will come to us and it won't be exactly what we wanted, and sometimes we'll be like, oh well, I guess I'm not good enough and I guess that's what I asked for. Instead of actually saying that match was really close, thank you so much, I am actually going to reprogram this and say thank you, I don't want this, but I want something else. So making sure that if you did get this card, that you are literally getting into alignment with, I just saw a deer walk by, I should look that up. It's like almost noon. It's really weird, and a deer just walked through the neighborhood. So you really need to get into alignment with stepping into that place, maintaining that place, focusing on your dreams, allowing you to create the power within you about what it is that you want, and then being so grateful and in a celebratory place that it's going to come to you. So that is part of your message if you picked card number 2. For card number 3, even though this is kind of a scary card, it's like darkest fears. It came in reverse, which makes me think that, oh, the hair on my arms is standing up like a mile. Which makes me think that you've actually overcome your darkest fears, or you've decided that you're no longer going to concentrate on them. One of the things I sort of learned when I was a kid is hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And what that does is it creates the gas pedal and the brake pedal, and the gas pedal and the brake pedal. So you end up getting something in between, which is not what you want. You don't want what you're hoping for, and you don't want the worst that you're preparing for. So I think by getting this card, you've actually sort of stepped out of that place of concentrating on the red Jeep that's not in the driveway, and you've stepped out of that place of kicking the tires on the vehicle that you're currently driving, because I guess you've likely felt that it hasn't gotten you anywhere. And so there's no point in focusing on things that are my darkest fears, because what that does is make you a match to more things that you're afraid of. So I get the sense that you're moving out of this stage, and maybe I had to wait until today to tell you this message because Cancer season is very different. And an interesting thing about Cancers, you know that the Cancer is the crab and that they live in their own little environment, and that they kind of take their house around with them. And they're a water sign. They're very emotional. There's another deer that's interesting. I'm definitely going to look that up for you before I shut this off. They're just literally walking through the neighborhood. And this is like a subdivision kind of neighborhood, so it's really interesting that the deers would actually come right down. But I was saying about darkest fears and about hopes, and I just totally got sidetracked on that. But what you want to make sure of when you are manifesting is getting into the place of what you want, releasing what you don't want, and stepping out of that place of I can't have it, I don't deserve it, and stepping into that place of, you know what, I'm tired of thinking about that stuff. I'm going to focus on what I do want, because focusing on what, you know, I'm afraid of, and focusing on what I don't want, and focusing on things that are like sucky is bringing me more sucky. All right, I'm going to grab my deer book. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. I'll be right back. So the book that I use when I am looking up my animal wisdom is the Pocket Guide. So it's Stephen Farmer's Pocket Guide book. This is the little one. He does have a bigger book that has more animals in it. I just like this one because it's about the same size as a deck of cards, so it's easy for me to carry around. You can also often look up things on the internet, and what happens is when you're looking for things, like I would look for spiritual wisdom for deer, and both of them are literally like walking towards the house as I'm like, I wonder if I can actually show you. Can you see the deer? I have no idea if that worked, but they're like wandering around like right across the street. Interesting. I've never seen them during the day here before. All right, let's see. The message of the deer. So the message of the deer is you've been involved in some aggressive negative circumstances and need to seek out safe, nurturing situations and people. This could probably relate to this card. More than ever. Oh, and what happens when I'm reading this? What happens when I'm reading it is often only one piece will actually relate to you, so you have to actually check in and focus with, yes, that message was for me, because the whole thing in a book like this will not be for you. And if you are looking on the internet and you're looking for metaphysical meanings of deer or spiritual meanings of deer, when you are searching that, often you know which one to go through, and usually it's one of the top three. Usually it's the first one. But when you open it up and start reading it, all of it is not going to be your specific message. And so what I would normally do is use a pendulum and ask the pendulum what aspect of the message is for me. And so that's something that you can do if you're looking at messages for animals and different things that you're seeing. So this says, more than ever, you need to trust your gut instinct, which certainly makes sense. You definitely need to trust your gut instinct, I think, all the time. But it's interesting when we get into Cancer season as well, because what I was saying about the Cancer was that a lot of times Cancers are very, very, very giving, but in order for them to actually renew, they have to actually go into their shells and check in with themselves. So in this season of Cancer, if you are a Cancer or not, you may be sensing that many people or too much overwhelm can be created, and then you're in this like sort of state. And if that happens, you actually need to go back into your shell and connecting with yourself and just regroup before you actually go back into the world again. So that may be something that Cancer season brings for you. And if you are boundaries, keeping them in place, yes. If you are a Cancer, or if you are around people who have birthdays this month or into July, then be aware that if they're running off to hide, or if they're going off to, you know, watch a movie or do something, it's because they're actually like overwhelmed and shutting down and needing to go inside. So just be aware and observant and acknowledge that they're taking the space because they need it. Otherwise, they would probably get into an agitated or irritated or frustrated state, because of the fact that it's like they get overwhelmed, and it's like a little kid who like has a tantrum all of a sudden because they don't know what else to do. They're full and they need to go within themselves to empty. So the other message for the deer: you're poised for an enticing adventure, one that will take you down many different paths and lead to many important insights. And the last one is be gentle with yourself and others, which is definitely what I was just mentioning about Cancer season. So if any of you would like a card, I would be happy to pull one for you. So let me know if you are on and you would like a card. What am I doing? Good. So today is Thursday. It is solstice. It is a very good day to check in with some of the things that you decided to create come the new moon. Oh, this month and the next month are actually going to be really big. Had to step out. Absolutely. This month and the next month are going to be really big because the eclipses are coming, and we have another super new moon coming and another super new moon in August. And so when that happens, it's like there's a build on the newness, and there's a build on the things that we're no longer willing to do. Oh, and I'm getting the sense that a lot of times when we've decided to do things, when we've decided, this was the very first card. I had the Observe card as number 1, but this one came in because the Observe card was nowhere to be found. Apparently we're not observing. We're not finding things that are in place. But the Move card can be about moving on from stuff. But when that happens, then it's as though there's a piece of us that we actually have to get rid of or say goodbye to, and there can be some sadness there about knowing that it's like you're saying goodbye to a piece of yourself. So allow yourself to go within this month in Cancer season. If you're needing that time, I'm thinking that was yours, Ingrid. If you're needing that time to be with yourself in order to expand, because as we're going through the eclipses and as we're going through these 3 super new moons in a row, it's as though the energy of newness and new beginnings is going to be climbing like big steps. And in order to do that, you have to have some space to climb and not have the stairs all cluttered up with stuff so that you can't actually see the staircase. So it may be a time where you're quickly releasing the old in order to allow more new. Oh, here you go, Ingrid. So you're talking about boundaries and keeping them in place, and I want you to step into that place. Ooh, the hair on my arms is standing up. As though you are already the master. You are the master of your space. You are the master of your boundaries. You are the master of the things that you're manifesting. You are the master of your heart. So allow yourself to step into your own power and to master those things, because they're already yours. You already have them. And what you may have been doing in the past is seeing yourself as being not a master and allowing the people around you to create your boundaries and whatnot for you. But know that they're your boundaries, which means that you get to master them. You get to create them any way you want. And as soon as you start to, I want to say, fulfill that and be masterful in holding that space. It's funny, I'm actually seeing the in Dirty Dancing when Patrick Swayze is dancing with Jennifer Grey, and she's teasing him about spaghetti arms, about holding space when they're dancing. And that's what I'm seeing, is that a lot of times we just let our boundaries be spaghetti arms instead of allowing our boundaries to be big and strong and firm. And if we are the master of our boundaries, then we get to step into our own power. We get to step into our heart and decide where our boundaries are and where they're not. And so know that you already have the power to do that. And for some reason I'm getting called to this card. And so sometimes when we're creating boundaries, we are afraid that we are going to lose the people, that we're going to upset the people, or that people are going to be upset at us. Because one thing as humans is we hate for people not to like us. We hate not to be accepted. We don't like it when people are not liking us or when they're angry at us. That just feels bad. So a lot of times we're not stepping into our power and mastering our boundaries, And that sense of feeling bad that people don't like us or something like that is literally like a big fear that we have, because it connects into past lives on abandonment and getting kicked out of the tribe and things like that. So see if you can rejig your mind about knowing that it is safe for you to create your own boundaries, and also observing other people's boundaries when you're doing that. Because the interesting thing about boundaries is that oftentimes if we are letting other people overrun our own boundaries, there are likely people in our life that we've been overrunning their boundaries as well. So it's actually mastering the seeing of other people's and the seeing of your own, and knowing where that spaghetti arm dance is. So hopefully that was helpful. Letting go of a part of myself. Yes. Yes, fantastic. Absolutely. And it's not easy. And literally you want to go into your Cancer shell and hide for a while. And when you come out, it's okay for you to be someone else. And that process is different for everyone. So it can take different amounts of time based on how big of a part of yourself you're releasing, or how many lifetimes it's been stuck in there. Yes, unset people is totally what I don't want. Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, well, I'm hoping that was helpful. So you have a fantastic Thursday and a fantastic solstice, and know that you can step into yourself and take time for yourself, and you may need that. But today is definitely a brilliant day, if it's sunny where you are, to get outside and enjoy the sun and just be thankful for what it is that you have now, and step into that place of, I know what I'm creating and I'm going to decide to create that today, and I'm going to move into the energy of appreciating that it's already here, because that is a match for it already being here. So namaste, have a beautiful day wherever you are.